Mohini Ekadashi. The glories of Mohini Ekadashi, which occurs during the waxing moon in the months of April-May, are described in the Surya Purana. Once Maharaja Yudhishthira asked Lord Krishna, "O Janardana, what is the name of the Ekadashi that occurs during the waxing moon in the months of April-May, and what is the process for observing this Ekadashi? Also, what is the merit one obtains by following this Ekadashi? Please explain all this to me in detail." Lord Krishna replied, "O son of Dharma, please hear me attentively as I describe the story that sage Vashistha once told Lord Ramachandra. One time, long ago, Lord Ramachandra said to the great sage Vashistha, "O respected sage, I am feeling great distress due to separation from Sita, the daughter of King Janaka. Kindly explain to me the great vow to follow, which will mitigate all one's sinful reactions and distresses." The great sage Vashistha, who was the spiritual master of Ramachandra, said the following: "My dear Rama, your intelligence is sharp and mixed with faith. Moreover, your question is beneficial for the entire humanity. Just by chanting and remembering your all auspicious holy names, all living entities can become purified and eligible to achieve all auspiciousness. Still, for the benefit of the ordinary people, I will describe to you about a great vow. O Lord Rama, the Ekadashi that occurs during the waxing moon in the months of April-May is famous as Mohini Ekadashi and is very auspicious. By following this Ekadashi, all one's sinful reactions, material miseries, and a network of illusion are destroyed. Now please hear attentively as I narrate the most pious topics of this Ekadashi. There was a beautiful city named Bhadravati, situated on the bank of the sacred river Sarasvati, which was ruled by a king named Dyutimana. O Lord Rama, the king was born in the dynasty of the moon, and he was tolerant and truthful. There was a pious and prosperous devotee of Lord Vishnu named Dhanapala, who also lived in that city. He was a Vaishya by profession. For the benefit of the ordinary people, this devotee Dhanapala built many dharmashalas, or guest houses, schools, temples of Lord Vishnu, charitable hospitals, white roads, and marketplaces. He also made arrangements for distributing water and foodstuff. He dug wells for cool drinking water and ponds for clear water. He also built gardens for flowers and fruits. In this way, he properly utilizes his wealth for the benefit of all, and thus successfully demonstrated the true meaning of his name. This pious devotee of Lord Vishnu, who was always peaceful, a benefactor of others, and engaged in devotional service to Vishnu, had 5 sons, namely Samana, Dyutimana, Medavi, Sukriti, and Dhrishtabudhi. His son Dhrishtabudhi, he was most sinful. He was extremely wicked, ill-natured, always engaged in bad association, and having illicit connection with unchaste women. He was also fond of gambling and drinking wine. He even took pleasure in killing and torturing other living entities. In this way, he engaged in all kinds of sinful activities and soon turned into an abominable son of a most pious father and was a disgrace to the family. He never showed respect to the demigods, guests, old forefathers, or brahmanas. He was constantly engaged in thinking of committing sinful activities, and thus lived a contemptible life. The sinful wretch Drishtabudhi misused all his father's wealth in many useless activities. He always ate abominable foodstuffs and remained always absorbed in drinking wine. One day, on seeing his shameless son walking in the public place while placing his hand on the shoulder of a prostitute, Dhanapala became extremely hurt. On that very day, he threw out his spoiled son from the house. Drishtabudhi then became bereft of everyone's affection, including from his father, mother, brothers, relatives, and friends. He was degraded from his position in caste society and the pious community and became an object of hatred for everyone. After being thrown out from his father's house, Drishtabudhi continued his sinful propensities with the money he received by selling his personal clothes and ornaments. Soon that also came to an end. Gradually, due to lack of sufficient food, his body became weak and skinny. On realizing that he had become poor, his so-called deceitful friends left him, condemning him on various pretexts. Drishtabudhi was now full of anxiety. He had no food or clothes, and was extremely afflicted with hunger. So he began to contemplate, what should I do now? Where should I go? By which means will I survive? After contemplating in this way, he decided that there was no other alternative than to start stealing for his survival. So, with a desire to steal, he began to wander throughout the city. Sometimes the king's guard would arrest him, and after considering his father's greatness, he would release him. After being caught and released in this way many times, he was once again formally arrested for committing special kind of theft. He was taken to the king, who awarded him severe punishment. The king said, "O sinful, foolish creature, you cannot stay within this kingdom anymore, for you are the greatest sinner. I am releasing you for now, but leave this kingdom immediately and go wherever you wish." Drishtabudhi, afraid of being punished again, left the kingdom. He went far away and entered into a dense forest. Within the forest he became so afflicted with hunger and thirst that he began to kill beasts and birds indiscriminately and ate their raw flesh. For many years he wandered throughout the forest like a hunter, holding a bow and arrows in his hands and killing innocent animals and engaging in sinful activities. Drishtabudhi was always miserable and anxious, but one day, due to some past pious deeds, he arrived at the sacred ashrama of the great sage and ascetic Kaundinya, while wandering about the forest. It was the month of Vaishakha, April-May, and the great sage Kaundinya was just returning home after taking bath in the Ganges. At that time, by providence, Drishtabudhi, who was very aggrieved by distress and lamentation, happened to touch a drop of water falling from the sage's cloth. Drishtabudhi was immediately relieved of his sinful reactions. With folded hands and great humility, he said to sage Kaundinya, "O great Brahmana, I am the most sinful person. There is no sin that I have not committed. Now please instruct me about the topmost type of atonement, which is most wretched person like me can easily perform. As a result of committing unlimited sinful activities, till now I have been bereft of my house, wealth, relatives, and friends, and I'm drowning in the ocean of mental agony. After hearing these statements of Krishnabudhi, the great sage Kaundinya, feeling distress by seeing another's distress, said, I'm telling you a sublime method by which all your sinful reactions can easily be nullified in a very short time. Please hear me attentively. Mohini Ekadashi, which occurs during the waxing moon in the month of April-May, totally destroys a mountain of sinful reactions as big as Mount Sumeru, accumulated from many, many lifetimes. Therefore, you should faithfully observe this Ekadashi. Hearing these words from the great sage, Krishnabudhi became joyful and properly observed that Ekadashi according to the rules and regulations instructed by the sage. O best of kings, by observing this Mohini Ekadashi, the most sinful Krishnabudhi soon became devoid of all sinful reactions, and after assuming a divine body, he returned to the all-auspicious abode of Lord Vishnu by riding on the back of Garuda. O Ramachandra, this vow certainly removes all kinds of illusion in the darkness of ignorance. Any piety accumulated by taking bath in the holy waters, given in charity, and performance of sacrifice cannot be compared with the piety one attains by observing this Mohini Ekadashi. Jai Mohini Ekadashi ki Jai.